So let me talk about my most favorite chapter in the 48 Laws of Power. Right here, this book. It's kind of tattered because I've had it for such a long time, bro. But my favorite chapter, it says here, understand in your struggles with your rivals, it will often be necessary for you to hurt them. And if you are clearly the agent of their punishment, expect a counterattack. Expect revenge. If, however, they seem to themselves to be the agents of their own misfortune, they will submit quietly. When Ivan left Moscow for his rural village, the citizens asking him to return agreed to his demand for absolute power. Over the years to come, they resented him less for the terror he unleashed on the country. Because after all, they had granted him his power themselves. This is why it is always good to allow your victims their choice of poison, and to cloak your involvement in providing it to them as far as possible. And which one is this? This is Law 31. Law 31 is control the options, get other people to play with the cards you deal. It's pretty similar to politics. You know how there's only two options to vote for in politics, like Republican and Democrat? You're controlling the options. You're getting others to deal with the card, to play with the cards you deal. Well, that's just like a casino too, right? When you're playing blackjack, the casino gives you the cards and you play with them. And this is a good one, but that's not my favorite chapter in the book. That's not my favorite chapter. My favorite chapter would be probably pose as a friend and act as a spy. Act as a friend and pose as a spy. I think it's pose as a friend and act as a spy, which is like one of the laws here. I'm not sure if it's 5 or 6 or 7. Nah, she already forgot about that. She don't remember everything. Yes, Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Knowing about your rival is critical. Use spies to gather valuable information that will keep you a step ahead. Better still, play the spy yourself. In polite social encounters, learn to probe. So what he's basically saying is, in terms of like polite social encounters, for example, say you're going to the bar with your work colleagues after work, and they're going to be drinking alcohol. Now what you can do is you can get a clear glass, and then you can put some cranberry juice in there, or doesn't really matter, but you can put whatever anything in there that resembles alcohol to them, but in reality it's cranberry juice or blueberry juice or some stupid shit like that, and they're thinking it's alcohol, so they think you're as drunk as they are. Then that's the perfect time to ask them questions that you may not ask them when you're sober and they're both sober, because they'll pick up on it really quickly. And that's when you can work as a spy. You can use that opportunity to kind of worm some more information out of them. Ask indirect questions to get people to reveal their weaknesses and intentions. So indirectly. Why are you doing it indirectly? You're doing it indirectly because you don't want them to catch on that you're trying to worm secrets out of them under the guise of conversation. Yeah, you don't do it. You do it indirectly, like you mentioned certain things that will eventually, they're gonna reveal themselves ineptly. All right, let's go to page 101. And let's study the first part of this chapter real quick. Let's read it again so it can stick in your mind, you know? Repetition is pretty important. Yeah, I'm waiting for my pasta to get ready again. I'm having pasta again today. Probably gonna have pasta with some vegetables, mushrooms and tomatoes and stuff. With a side order of, what is it? Fries, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Knowing about your rival is critical. Use spies to gather valuable information that will keep you a step ahead. Better still, play the spy yourself. In polite social encounters, learn to probe. Ask indirect questions to get people to reveal their weaknesses and intentions. There is no occasion that is not an opportunity for artful spying. So let's get to the first part of this book. Observance of the law. Now let's analyze this part of the book and let's try to understand what we can learn from it. Joseph Duveen was undoubtedly the greatest art dealer of his time. From 1904 to 1940, he almost single-handedly monopolized America's millionaire art collecting market. But one prize plum eluded him, the industrialist Andrew Mellon. Before he died, Duveen was determined to make Mellon a client. So he's a great art dealer. All right. He almost single-handedly monopolized America's millionaire art collecting market. Wow, monopolized means he took control of it. So it's like the UFC. The UFC is basically a monopoly in the MMA market. Because they're the most powerful, they have the biggest market share of the market. So Duveen wanted to make Mellon a client. All right. Duveen's friends said this was an impossible dream. Mellon was a stiff, taciturn man. The stories he had heard about the congenial, talkative Duveen rubbed him the wrong way. He had made it clear he had no desire to meet the man. Yet Duveen told his doubting friends, "Not only will Mellon buy from me, but he will buy only from me." For several years, he tracked his prey, learning the man's habits, tastes, phobias. How did he do that? Well, he did it by having several of Mellon's staff on his own payroll, worming valuable information out of them. Very interesting. So step one. So first of all, he wanted to monopolize. He already monopolized the entire market, but he wanted to make Duveen. All right, I think I gotta start making the pasta now. I'm gonna pause the video. I'm gonna come back to you guys for a second. All right, I'm back. So let's see. What was I saying again? So he basically put them on his own payroll to kind of find out information about them. Wow. By the time he moved into action, he knew Mellon about as well as Mellon's wife did. Habits, tastes, phobias. Wow, everything. In 1921, Mellon was visiting London and staying in a palatial suite on the third floor of Claridge's Hotel. Duveen booked himself into the suite just below Mellon's on the second floor. Wow. He wanted to find Mellon. But how did he know he was visiting London? Probably because he has several of his people on his payroll. Several of several of Mellon's staff is on his payroll, so of course he knows where he's going, where he's not going, because the assistant is probably the one that books those flights. Typically assistants do everything for people that are like super busy, so she probably told him, oh hey, he's going to France or he's going to London or whatever. Booked himself into the suite just below Mellon's on the second floor. He had arranged for his valet to befriend Mellon's valet. And on the fateful day he had chosen to make his move, Mellon's valet told Duveen's valet, who told Duveen, it's weird, it's like a chain reaction, right? That he had just helped Mellon on with his overcoat and that the industrialist was making his way down the corridor to ring for the lift. Duveen's valet hurriedly helped Duveen with his own overcoat. Seconds later, Duveen entered the lift, and lo and behold, there was Mellon. "How do you do, Mr. Mellon?" said Duveen, introducing himself. "I am on my way to the National Gallery to look at some pictures." How uncanny. That was precisely where Mellon was headed. And so Duveen was able to accompany his prey to the one location that would ensure his success. He knew Mellon's taste inside and out. And while the two men wandered through the museum, he dazzled the magnate with his knowledge. Once again, quite uncannily, they seemed to have remarkably similar tastes. And why do you think that was? Because he was tracking him for years, figuring out his phobias, tastes, and fears, and everything. So he already knew him pretty well. Mellon was pleasantly surprised. This was not the Devine he had expected. The man was charming and agreeable, and clearly had exquisite taste. When they returned to New York, Mellon visited Devine's exclusive gallery and fell in love with the collection. Everything, surprisingly enough, seemed to be precisely the kind of work he wanted to collect. For the rest of his life, he was Devine's best and most generous client. That's part one. See you guys.